So, good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see you all for our last episode of season 3 of Enrich Your Coffee before we take a summer break. I hope that you will also take some break and deserve some holidays. So today I'm very happy to host Antonio Bonucci. So I don't know if I still need to introduce him, but for those who don't know him, Antonio works at XFEL, is responsible of the Industrial Liaison Office and the in-kind contribution supply chain management. Antonio will present the innovation mold concept, and then he will move to the innovation partnership, where he will be supported by Marco Pelloy, who I think is in the audience. Marco is head of Industrial Liaison Office at ATTRACT, and he will share with us his experience with this tool of European regulation. So now, Antonio, it's all yours.
Yes, thank you to everyone to participate. It was my pleasure to talk today about innovation partnership. That is one of the innovation procurement call for tender that were approved by the Council of Europe and also by the European Parliament in 2014. We had already an episode about pre-commercial procurement and also procurement innovation, but these are PPI and PCP are other things. This time we'll talk about the third possibility that, as always, is taking into account that in our facility, we have some time to include the risk of research into the process of the development with our suppliers. And for that, I will not have slides, but I have, and I prefer to listen to the direct good experience, I would say, of Marco Pelloy. But before that, just to make a little bit more dense our meeting today, I want to speak about also the tools that allows not only to make the procedure, but to look also for the right partner. Normally, you look for the partner in development through bilateral, trustful, of course, relationship. But now there are other tools that is going to the crowd for the looking for a call for partnership. I will not have a lot of slides, but some practical example that can show you. This is the theory. It's from the Professor Roberto Verganti, that was professor in the Polytechnic in Milano when I studied my executive MBA, and I like a lot this scheme. The collaboration normally has two dimensions for this model. One dimension is related to how open you are going to the crowd to ask for a collaboration. So closed, it means that you are choosing your expert, and then you are more focused in a way. Open is really to listen to the crowd, to have idea out of blue, unexpected, that are very important in the innovation development. And the other dimension is governance. So it could be hierarchical if there is an institution, a company that is driving the goal and say, I'd like to go in this direction, or flat when it's from the bottom that the ideas are coming and composing in adaptive way. And then depending on this dimension, you have, of course, closed hierarchical, it's the typical elite circle. I don't want to make example because so typical. So you have a management that the top down probably is saying, we want to develop this, and they select some expert and they ask them to make such a kind of project, innovative project. Open flat innovation community is very, very used in the development of software for the app. So you have a platform, anyone can add his own app, for instance, or his component for a software in an open way. Instead, I'm more interested, and I'm going to make development in the area of innovation model and consortium. Consortium is closed and flat, so you have a closed crowd of expert, but anyone is telling about news and is exposing to the crowd the competence in order to compose from the bottom, of course, the different competence for a possible project. And today I will make some example for the innovation model, where you have a hierarchical governance. So there is someone that is sending a challenge and say, I'm like to look for a competent people in this area to make a partnership. And I have a free example. Well, I have directly from the website here. There are the links in my presentation, but I can open directly. Here I put already the open part. So European Enterprise Europe Network, I think any one of you knows this is the first example. Of course, you can choose your partner if you are proposing a challenge or you are following a challenge. You can select the country and so on, but in particular you can select the wording, and through the wording you can see who is a company or institution is launching a call for partnership. I think this is really call for partnership, and you have a strong support of also the people that is behind. Something more structured for business is Innocentive. I asked also permission to them to present this, and they make a real challenge that are already organized on the kind of challenge. I hope that you see the website. So here there could be a challenge for ideation, really basic, theoretical, but also IP transfer, licensing, reduction to practice, interesting, you can understand what is it. And also you can make here some kind of research and so on. But this is really open, and there is also an awarding process during the participation. So I invite everyone to participate. And a third example that I can make for Innovation Mall is in a conference that I'm a part of the organization committee, is the BSPF 2022 in Granada. And we launch a so-called technology transfer proposal. So anyone can still, I invite you to talk about a technology that they want to diffuse through a technology transfer tool. And then in this case, one part will be virtual because there is the publication of the ideas. But during the conference, we will make a real marketplace in person connected to the proposal that are published on the website. It's new for the conference, this concept, and I hope that we will have success. Of course, coming back to the theory, one second, I will again share. We are going to organize Innovation Mall. I would say that you have always to find a compromise between closed and open. You don't have to be too much closed to avoid that you miss the out of blue, but of course you can select your expertise that you want to participate. And of course here there is also a gray zone that you have to modulate between hierarchical and flat, and you have to find a compromise between what you want to drive. So if it's really all the specification of your development that you are proposing, or you are listen also to the participant for your development. I think these tools will be developed in the future more and more, and we are working in particular also in some kind of consortia to develop this one also for external use. So this was my first presentation. This is something that I believe will be useful. It's useful to find the right partner, not beyond the bilateral relationship. But what I was really interested to present also today is the second important part. If you find also the right partners, Europe make an effort to give us a procedure, a legal procedure, to include research on risk during the collaboration after the tender. And then I will ask to Marco why, first of all, like Industrial Liaison Office, you work with the technology transfer, intellectual property, you are interested to also to the procedure of supplier. Well, I know very well, Marco, just to say, because we work together in LEAPS-INNOV, and here we are making exploitation of technology that are developed in the LEAPS-INNOV Horizon program. But of course, there is also an area where LEAPS-INNOV where we work together about how to improve the relationship industrial academy, in particular for procurement. So Marco, introduce yourself and say why you are interested to procurement.
Okay, thank you, Antonio. Of course, you already said that I'm the head of the Industrial Liaison Office of Elettra, the Synchrotron Radiation Center in Trieste. And the question why I'm interested in these new forms of procurement is very clear, because this is one way, innovative way to make technology transfer. Because usually in a classical procurement way, you have two different possibilities for make technology transfer. One is to define specifications you want and wait for a company to propose a solution, to propose a new product that fits the specifications you produced. Or you can design, produce, test the prototype, and then at the end, you give all the drawings, all the schemes to a company and say to the company, reproduce it as it is. So this means that you have no possibility to interact with the company. And I think that in the technology transfer process, the interaction with companies is very important. It's the real thing that matters, because you don't have to transfer only the technology, but the competencies. And competencies can be transferred in this dialogue with the company. And then, because there is another reason that is a very special occasion or possibility to have an economic return from a tender procedure. And this is not usual, because if you have a commercial development of the product, you can ask for royalties if the company will sell the product to other facilities or other institutions, and then have an economic return from this tender procedure that I think is very unusual. Usually you spend money in a tender procedure, you don't earn it.
Okay. Marco, why innovation partnership, this new call tender procedure, is interesting for this topic then?
Okay, this is, okay, I think that there are a lot of advantages in, how to say, in following this procedure. So our experience is we did once this thing, because we had an opportunity to develop a new, we were interested in beam position monitors for our facility. We are developing a new facility, and so we had to produce more than 2,000 beam position monitors. We had some ideas on how to produce these beam position monitors, and we have some new ideas on how to make advances in this field. And this because we are using beam position monitors since 20 years and more. And so we had no capacity to produce them, and the new ideas were not on the market. So what we were looking for was a company able to interact with us. We found one with this procedure, and we got the possibility to interact and to share with them our know-how, because the procedure, if you want, I can explain how it works more or less.
Yes.
Okay, so the procedure is very flexible. First of all, it's very flexible because you can, what you can do is to, you have the possibility to stop the procedure at each stage. You can invite to this procedure several companies, and all these companies can propose different developments, and you can interact with these companies in order to see if the development phase of the product fits with your interest. You can interact, you can share your knowledge with them. And then this development phase could be in different stages. You can just ask them to make a plain proposal, and then you can choose the company that has the best proposal. And then you can work with this company following all the steps of the research and development process. So you can make a prototype together, you can develop different prototypes, you can arrive to a pre-commercial product, and then if the product is not doesn't fit your needs, you can stop the procedure at that time, or you can stop the procedure and change the company that will produce the object. And so this means that you have two processes in the same process. You have development phase, and together with the development phase, you have the procurement. So you can also have the development of the product, and you can follow all the product development. You can follow all the steps of the development, and you can interact and select the steps or select the features that you need, and implement, try to ask to the company to implement the features that are more suitable for you. And at the same time, you can have the entire, at the end of the development process, if you want, you can have the entire production in the same procedure. So you spare also the number of administrative activities that you have to do.
And talking about specification, when you make cutting-edge system, like you make an example, of course, this procedure can be applied also for few of kinds in a particular institution, large facilities, and so on, and not for big commercial production and selling, I would say, washing machine. It's only really for cutting-edge system. The main problem with the cutting-edge system is that at the moment of the tender, the specification cannot be exactly clear because they are clarified after the research phase. So how innovation partnership can help? So you can choose, as far as I understood, your partner basing on their competence, ability to make research, and move the clarification of the specification after the tender award, but during the research phase with different milestones. Is it correct? What was your experience?
Yeah, this is exactly what is the main advantage of the procedure. So you can combine the innovation process that maybe is in your research institution, because you have a lot of skills to invent new solutions, and you can select in the right company that has the same skills, but in the industrialization of the product. So you can work together and arrive to an instrument that is better than an instrument made by the research infrastructure, or better than an instrument made by a company, because you put together two different kinds of skills. The invention is really very well established in the infrastructure, research infrastructure, but is very important also the technological capability of a company, because not all the times a very well invented instrument in a research infrastructure is stable, is has a long duration, is able to last for years. And so what is very important is the skills that a company has in developing an industrialized instrument. This is very important, and it's also another thing that is very important that for us is very important is the fact that all the maintenance is delegated to the company. So you have not to care to the maintenance. Sometimes when you develop your instruments, the maintenance is an issue, and you have to have people that has to maintain all the instrumentation. You can give this to the company and think about other new projects.
So actually, Marco, it's like the word is saying, innovation partnership. It's really a partnership and not only a relationship customer-supplier. Europe will make a large effort. I think this is the dream of all the engineer of our facility, to have such a collaboration with the industry, and I think also the industry will be happy. Of course, there are the limits. You can go direct on the procurement rules. Here it's no lesson, is only to highlight this possibility. There are rules really strict on when you can apply this innovation partnership, and so you have to follow. I think we have only 10 minutes. Marco, I would leave the word to Anne, and in particular Charlotte, and in particular to everyone for possible question. before we continue to give other hints about both topic. Correct, Charlotte?
Yeah, thanks. So, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of questions already, like, so that there were interactions in the chat. So please, if you have any questions, raise your hand or just take over the floor. I'm sure there should be plenty of questions. Sonia, I can see that you're taking a lot of notes.
Yes.
Actually, I'm sketching.
Strategy. Strategy
Yeah.
moment.
But is there anyone in the audience who already have like some experience as well with the innovation partnership? Michele? You have a point? Yeah.
Michele?
Are you?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not. I am muted. This procedure involve the certain capital risk from the industry side.
Yes.
Who will take care of this issue? The research institution or the industry itself?
So I don't understand exactly what risks are you.
Namely, I will try to make an example. In your case, at beginning, you have contacted different companies. They have started to make the R&D, and then at hand, you have chosen just one. So, who is financing the R&D of the other companies?
Okay, depends on the amount of R&D you have to ask to the company. If the R&D is just preparing some document and showing their capabilities in that field, this is a kind of R&D that is very light and is not paid. But if you want to go on, and for instance, what could be very heavy for a company, ask to the company to prepare a prototype. That is one of the possibilities. Prepare a prototype, and maybe you have 2 or 3 prototypes ready. Of course, in the tender procedure, is possible to pay all the companies that prepare the prototype. So for the company, there is no special risk because they are paid for the research they do, and of course are paid up to the they are involved in it. So you have to establish some accounts. The first phase, if you have a first phase in which you have to maybe make a general design, you can set up an amount of money for all the companies that will do this certain amount of activity. And so in this way, there is no risk for the company. And of course, the company will proceed in the procedure, is paid for all the steps. If you want to stop the procedure at a certain point, you have the possibility to pay the company for the activity they already done. I don't know if this is possible in a standard procurement procedure, but I don't think so.
So I can add something not for the innovation partnership, but from experience, like a kind of contributor manager, because the way to manage the milestones is quite similar. This topic of the achievement in the second phase. Well, the procedure was done just to manage the risk, because in a normal call for tender, it's not so easy to close a project after the tender is awarded, and the supplier must arrive till the end of what he promised and so on. Instead, if you make some milestone, as Marco was saying, that you have always the possibility to stop the activities. And
would you call this a stage gate?
Would
you call this a stage gate process?
It's not a real stage gate like this one with copyright and so on that is developed and so on. There are milestones with the criteria of achievement, and you can decide to go on. The stage gate has a copyright meaning, I would say, that is quite precise.
Comment. In my life, I've been involved in one experience. When I was at NFN Frascati, we have supplied magnet to the ERA accelerator in Germany. And we have made a partnership with Ansaldo Componenti in Genoa. And Ansaldo Componenti, during the developing of the dipoles, want to be paid. And the first prototypes were not working well. And INFN, I had to buy this prototype, even though they were not good. So it's this kind of procedure, the partnership, is not very interesting for the industry. Thank you.
Yes, but you are talking about an experience before 2014, so was not an innovation partnership, I suppose, correct?
No, but it was an experience.
Yes, yes, an experience. But the experience is also that you will be paid for what you achieve. If you define good your milestones, I think it's fair. So it's not that, at least this is also an experience with in-kind contribution. So the credit is about what you achieve. And after you go on, correct, Marco? So you, this is fair and contracted in a clear and transparent way. I think
what is important is that this procedure gives the possibility to be very transparent. And so you have the clear path, and a company will decide in advance if you want to participate or not. Because the path is very clear, the efforts requested are very clear, and the milestones are very clear. And this is during the procedure. What is different than with the standard procedure is that all these things are during the procedure. So at the end, you will select one company, but all the other companies are paid for what they've done. It's a little bit more expensive if you want, because if you have 3-4 companies that have to arrive to a prototype, you have to pay for all the prototypes. But you can also stop the multiple companies' presence just in a very early phase in which you don't have to spend too much, and you don't need the companies spend too much time and efforts in making their activity. Depends on how you want to set up your procedure. So this is the reason why I said it's very, very flexible procedure. So our scientists were very, very happy about that, because they now have a meeting every week with the company, defining the milestones, defining the progress activities, defining all and discussing how to present their to realize their developments. So they said that is like having another laboratory that is working with you, and that has your project as first project in their minds. That usually is not like that, because if you cooperate with another lab, they all have other activities that are priority higher than the cooperation with you. So in this case, you have another laboratory that's working with you and has priority 1 with you.
Thank you, Marco. Charlotte, we are out of time already.
Yeah, I saw, Sonia, you had your hand raised. I don't know if you removed it on purpose or... Okay. Michele, you have one more comment?
No, thank you. Maybe the hand raised was from my previous
No, because I
intervention.
lowered it, but it's okay.
Okay, thank you.
It's okay. Is there more questions? No more questions. Okay, so Antonio, do you want to close the session?
Yes, so first of all, I see in the chat someone that was asking when I make the example Innovation Mall if the BSPF 2022 technology transfer proposal is still open. Yes, it's open. Please participate. It's a great opportunity for everyone, first of all. And secondly, I really thank Marco. I make an effort to find who had experience of this innovation partnership, because my experience is that is always confused with the PCP and PPI. So unfortunately, there is this confusion, but it's really another thing. It's a procedure, and I invite all to have a look in internet on the regulation, the limit of application, of course, and to try to make of the effort of Europe, the European Council and Parliament, something good for our facility and academic institute. This is really a good invitation.
Well, thank you very much. So this is our last time before the summer break. Please bear in mind that we still have our call open, our Enrich Your Industry outreach. So it's open until the end of August. You're welcome to apply, especially if you have attended one of our webinars. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. The replay of this recording will be on our website. As you probably received, so in the newsletter this morning, we launched the web page of Enrich Your Coffee. So now it's all well organized. You can access all the replays and articles. So I hope you will like these new settings, and we see you again in September. We are planning now the new seasons. So if you have any topics in mind, anything you want to discuss, share, promote, I strongly invite you to contact us. And I wish you all a great summer. Stay tuned on our social media because we have a bunch of surprises for you during the summer. We will still be around even if we don't meet live. And we are very much looking forward to seeing you back, to come back in September. And we wish you all a great summer. Thank you very much for your support and being present with us.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Happy
Bye.
summer.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a nice
Bye.
summer.
Bye.
Thank you.